Hey guys, DJ Sam Withers here. Welcome back to another video. Before we get stuck into it, make sure you like, click the subscribe button and turn that bell notification on and enjoy. This is Nick from Guild of Guardians. Welcome to the podcast slash AMA, I like to say. What I'm going to do is normally what would happen is you would introduce yourself. But in this case, it's going to be a little bit slightly different. I'm going to attempt to do basically the Guild of Guardians introduction and see how much I get right from what I've read over the internet. And then we'll go from there, and we've got a bunch of questions from the community and whatnot. So as far as I'm aware, the Guild of Guardians is a Ukraine-based game developer. Guild of Guardians is something called Stepico, is a Ukraine-based game developer, which has about 50 plus developers and artists there. The game itself is published by the Australian-based marketplace called Immutable X, who is backed by Naspers and Galaxy Digital, just to name a few. They had an ICO funding round, which was about $3 million, and YGG was one of the funders. A board member named Derek Lau, which I believe is also a co-founder here. The average clicks on the website right now is around 32,000 clicks. There could be more now. This is just some data I found online. 21% from Czech Republic, 19% from USA, 19% from Philippines, roughly, give or take. They had a founders sale as well, and the NFT sale raised over $3 million. I believe the NFTs now are sitting around the $4.4 million mark, and they obviously do have a lot of runway because of the money they raised earlier on. And the pre-game registrations totaled 133,270 people for the pre-game registrations. Now, would that be close to accurate? They're probably a little bit old numbers, I'm not sure, but how's the intro of Guild of Guardians for that side of things?
If I was your teacher at school, I would say it's like a B+. Like,
that's not bad.
You've done pretty well there. You've done pretty well.
That's not bad.
Yeah, so I can kind of, I'll run over the top of that box,
sure.
essentially. So yeah, so Stepico Games, as you mentioned, they're a Ukrainian-based game development studio, and they're the full-time devs on the game itself. So we've got a team of 20 plus full-time developers who are working on the game specifically, and then there are a bunch of us, myself included, and Derek, who you mentioned, who's the game lead. He sort of looks after all the operations, and he's been really active in the NFT space for 4 or 5 years. One of the first people in like CryptoKitties and those communities. So we're all hired or work for Immutable, which is an Australian-based company, as you mentioned. And then Immutable X is the marketplace that we are building on top of as a layer 2 scaling solution. So that's where users and players will be able to go and trade assets and exchange assets and digital goods when the game is not only live, but now, as you touched on, we've released 2 waves of NFT founders, founder NFTs rather, and they're now tradable. We've done, I think, a bit over $5 million US in secondary volume already. And then Immutable in the last week have had some really sort of needle moving news. They announced a $60 million US Series B raise, which is obviously a massive injection of capital that allows us to grow that marketplace and grow the marketing and the scaling and bring more people onto that platform. And then on our side with the game development more specifically, and I guess what's more relevant to the people listening to this chat is that that gives us the capital that we need to continue to massively scale up the game dev efforts. So that was exciting. And then a few days after that, like, we punched people in the mouth with that news. And then about, 4 or 5 days later, Immutable announced a partnership with TikTok. And so Immutable is basically helping and assisting TikTok in creating NFTs and selling them, and using Immutable X, the marketplace, to go and have those assets tradable and exchangeable. So it's definitely happening. It's here, and we are immersed in it big time. But yeah, that's kind of the state of play with where we are at the moment. And I think you did a pretty good job of summing it up, but it's a real pleasure to jump on and chat with you guys. I know that there's a bunch of our community in here, and they're always just a massive ball of energy and fun and excitement. So I'm excited to sort of deep dive into what we're doing and how things are running.
Yeah, I mean, the scope of Immutable X right now is absolutely insane, the popularity it's gaining, and I can see why, because it's a damn good team, and no gas fees is always what everyone's loving. Everyone's hating Ethereum just because they're probably maybe years away. Who knows? No one has a really definite date, but I want to refer back to just quickly before we get stuck into the start of the game and what it's all about. Your NFT sales just go like hotcakes. Every time I try and get an NFT or anything, they're gone within like minutes. And if people don't know what this is basically Guild of Guardians is doing NFT sales. They'll do it up on their website, and you have a certain first in best dress. You buy some NFTs, some characters in the games or whatever's up for auction to buy. And every time I go and do it, there's always none left.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting sort of phase of operation. So we, as you know, we've always kind of been really excited by the opportunity of being able to benefit our early adopters and the early community members who they make the game. You know, it's not Stepico and it's not us. It's like the community members that are there early. The same with Axie, the same with sort of any up and coming play to earn or play and earn title, as we like to call Guild of Guardians. You want to reward them. You want to give them sort of their flowers for being there early. And an opportunity for us to do that was by creating these limited edition founder heroes. So they're separate. They're still playable in game, but they're separate from the characters or the heroes that are going to be in game at live ops. Different tiers. And so in wave 1, we dropped 7,500 founder legendary edition heroes. And we learned a lot from that drop. I can tell you that much. So like, I mean, we sat there. I still remember it so clearly. We were sitting in the office. I was with Derek, and we had all of our engineers on call, and we went live with it, and we'd done all the testing, and we tried to break everything in our back end, and we pushed it live, and it was like, oh my God, everything just crashed. And I was sitting there, and I'm sitting there just answering people's DMs. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I know you can get it. You can't, like, what's going on? And then, we were very honest with them. We said, we're really sorry that this and this and this happened. Some people were able to go and get the stuff that they wanted, and then others completely missed out for whatever reason. So we went back and we sat down and put our heads together, and we were like, how can we make this right? So we refunded everyone's lost gas in that wave 1 drop, which, we didn't need to do, but it kind of was a necessity based off the fact that we'd, basically unintentionally made this error. And so that was wave 1. The legendary heroes sold out in a little bit less than an hour. And then we also had the guild tokens up for sale, which was kind of like, they're the crux of the game and the core gameplay mechanics and gameplay loops. So they sold out. They're a little bit more expensive, more of investment. And they sold out within a fortnight or so. Yep. And what we found was, and what was really interesting was that bigger groups, as you said, YGG, different DAOs, different companies were coming in and buying, especially the higher tier guilds. And that gave us real validation that there are companies and there are people that are backing this to the point where they say, we're going to go and take this sort of pretty hefty investment and flyer on the game. And we back ourselves to be able to onboard the right people to play it in the right way and get a return on that investment. And so that was kind of a big tick for us. And then fast forward 3 months, we had those assets and those NFTs tradable on Immutable X. As you mentioned, no gas, which is a big win, a massive win in the eyes of us and our community and everything. And then we went live with wave 2, and we said to the community, we're not going to tell you what day it goes live, because we've seen this story so many times before. Any NFT project, doesn't matter if you've been in 1, 100 or 0. If you go and I say, all right, I've got a Discord community of, in our case, 65,000, 70,000 people. And I say to them, all right, we're going to go live with wave 2. And we're selling 35,000 epic NFTs, and we're selling X number of energy boosters. If I do that, everyone logs on, the site either breaks.
Yeah.
Gas is astronomical. You could be wanting to buy, $90 or $60 worth of goods and assets, which is perfectly reasonable. And then you get hit with 500 US in gas or something. It's completely prohibitive. It doesn't work. And so we said, to avoid network transaction and to try and get around that, we're just going to stealth drop it. Whoever's online, whoever's there has the opportunity to get it first.
I like it.
And obviously there are people who are going to be disappointed and upset by that, because people are asleep, people are at work, people miss things. But we put it live as a stealth drop. We went in Discord and I said, it's live. Here's the link. And we sold it out in about 10 minutes. So we sold 35,000 epics, and our energy boosters sold out in 3 minutes. And so again, that was further sort of proof and validation for us. And then users were obviously able to go on and mint those onto Immutable X, where trading and exchanging can now occur. And what we've started to see is, without directly talking about the price, and there's none of this is financial advice or anything to do with that, but what we started to see as Immutable X starts to make noise, and you start seeing things like these Series B raises, you see this TikTok partnership, Discords that I'm sitting in outside of Guild of Guardians, I see all the time people being like, we need to take this project to Immutable X. OpenSea is pulling this off. We need to go to Immutable X. There's no gas there. It's cheap. It's free. And this tidal wave is starting to occur, and you can see it in the numbers. So we just went over, as I said at the start, I think 5 mil US in secondary volume, and without getting into the specifics of a percentage increase, if you graphed it, it'd be like this. So it's exciting times. I know that our community is one of the most sort of engaged and sort of rusted on and evangelical group of people that I've ever seen in the space. And that's exciting. It's a privilege for me to be able to go and jump in there and hang out with them every day. And they're honest. They'll tell you what they think. And if they think that something's bad, they'll tell you it's bad. And I never feel, people apologize. They're like, oh, come on, X, Y, Z. And I said, no, lay it on me. If you've got issues, talk to me about it. So that's the state of play at the moment. Long-winded answer, but yep, there's a lot of demand for what we're doing, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, at least you're heading in the right direction. And I guess a bit of clarity would be that I don't know one launch, like your wave one, I don't know one launch that's gone successful with no problems. Like I've been in blockchain for 5 years or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's always something wrong. There's so many people that want things in the blockchain space, especially right now in the play to earn model, especially. And I see a lot of the Gilded Guardian people that are coming through right now that they're just so excited about it. And I see the name everywhere, and I can't wait for it to come out. But I didn't even know what wave one, wave two was. And then I started getting questions from the community, which I'm going to ask you later on, which we'll get stuck into. But I guess for people that don't even know what Guild of Guardians is, what is it? What do you guys are about? It's a game? Like, give us the sort of rundown of what Guild of Guardians is.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll give you the elevator pitch. It's kind of basically it's a mobile RPG. Is the 2-word answer for it. But the goal, it's a mobile RPG that allows players to turn their passion for gaming into digital assets. That's kind of the super, super high level explanation of what we're trying to do. If you get deeper into it, it's a dungeon crawler. It's sort of low poly aesthetic art. It's team based. It's co-op. It's different strategies that you're trying to employ. And at the top of all of this is you're trying to work in guilds to craft and earn and trade items, which can then go and be exchanged on Immutable X on a secondary marketplace for real money, essentially. Our goal is essentially to be the premier mobile blockchain game in the space. In 5 years' time, we want to be 100 million plus users. We want people to be every day learning new ways to play, discovering new metas, being able to lean on different investment theses and working in different capacities and different motivations and desires. And we want people to spend hours and hours and hours a day playing a seriously fun mobile RPG with an invisible blockchain element that you can't really see, but is there. And so that's kind of the super short pitch about it. But I'm play testing at the moment, and it's wicked fun.
I'm jealous that you get to do the beta and stuff like that. But just a person from the outside looking in would be, it's going to be on mobile. You're playing. You basically. The idea of this is to come together with friends or people online as to create like a guild together, and you go into like dungeons. Is there a free world? Do you hang out together, or like do you just like load into a dungeon and then you try and defeat the bosses or something like that?
Yeah, so that's kind of correct. I think the easiest way to explain it is basically players will take teams of heroes, as we were touching on before. Players will take teams of heroes through challenging dungeons, different quests, and the goal is for them to collect resources. Resources are then taken back to the guild or personally they're used to forge and merge and create valuable items. And then those valuable items can then be used to be sold for real money or exchanged to level up things. So it's basically the goal that we envisage happening and the gameplay loop that we think is most compelling is that guilds, the concept of a guild is basically you would own an adventurer's guild, right? For example, and you would have a certain number of people in your guild. As the guild owner, you would earn a percentage of the total crafting profit or the total crafting revenue. And then that money or that profit or revenue would trickle down to every member of the guild in a different. So the goal is that you can be a free-to-play player who starts the game with a common hero, and you can still have access to earning potential because of your ability to contribute to what the guild is trying to do. So it's the goal essentially is that players will work together and compete and cooperate to create, the best squad of guardians based on what the meta is at the time, contribute to the guild that they're working in and the people that they're working next to and alongside, and then obviously strategize to go and complete the easiest dungeons through to the most difficult dungeons and bosses in the game.
Which I assume higher up you get in the ranks, obviously you'll need better NFTs, better characters, and then more rewards because they'll be worth more for the NFT side of things further in the harder dungeons, basically.
Essentially, yeah, that's the way that we envisage
Gotcha.
the progression working.
Just so I can make sure I get the storyline in my head. So it's basically, if I'm on my mobile, it'll be like a loading screen or just a general screen, and I would log in with my friends into the dungeon together, and then we do the dungeon together, or is it all done separately?
So there's going to be a co-op element that we are looking to build in. In the beginning, it's going to be a solo controlled hero with AI. So you work in hero teams of 4, and 3 of them will be AI controlled.
Gotcha.
It's obviously just a more difficult game dev loop, which we will bring in. But in the beginning, obviously, when you soft launch, you're trying to test mechanics and you're trying to break things and doing all that. And so the co-op element is something that we'll bring in, but we've got the guild element in the meantime to kind of fill that gap, if that makes sense. So you're playing with your friends without specifically playing with your friends in that first bit.
And then you bring basically your materials back to whatever's in your wallet or your bags or whatever, and then you guys, because you're a guild together, you combine it together, and then that's how you make your money. You sell your NFTs that way, and resources and materials and whatnot.
Bang on.
I love it. I love play to earn games. They're just, you can just see where everything's heading in the future. That it's hard to lose when people are making money playing a video game.
100%. I can't tell you the amount of hours that I've sunk into FPS games with friends. Like, I bought a disgusting amount of Fortnite skins, Overwatch skins. And I can't monetize any of it. Yeah. These game developers on the other side of the world are just sort of lining their pockets. And I'm sitting there with, $300, $400, $500 of sunk costs, and I can't do anything with it.
Yeah, it's going to be a game changer in the coming years, so I can't wait to see where you guys end up. And it's, by the sounds of things, you guys have runway for several years. If there's a bear market, it's something that you guys don't have to worry about. It's a bit of stress off your back that you don't need to sell these NFTs for capital, but you guys are in a position where if there's a bear market or whatever happens, you guys can still build the perfect product and not stress about the money side of things.
We're in a really privileged situation to be able to do that and lean on that. As we've said a number of times, we're not selling NFTs to people at the moment to raise capital. That's not the primary goal. The primary goal is to get founder NFTs into the hands of the people who have been here since day one and give them the opportunity to hold a piece of gaming history within our ecosystem. We've got runway we could have a 4-year bear market and we would still be building.
Wow.
So we are, we're very lucky and very blessed in that regard. And so it's basically heads down, bums up, and trying to build the best product we can.
That's just to have hearing that from someone part of the team is a huge relief, because I've seen many projects trying to raise money via NFTs, which is nothing wrong with that, but it's just a clear mind that there's the next 4 years you guys are set, and you can just focus on the number one, which is the product itself, making everyone make sure they're having basically the funnest and enjoying their time playing the game instead of stressing about money, which is great to hear.
And I would jump into that point. I mean, these games and these products, yes, the vision is intoxicating, and yes, I think that the wave of play and earn or play to earn gaming is inevitable. And I think that you look at your Activisions and your EAs and your AAA studios, and they're already looking at blockchain elements. They can't ignore it. It's kind of like, well, if your competitors start outstripping you, which will happen, then they're going to have to get on board. But at the end of the day, these things don't work unless the product that you have is fun and the product that you have brings people back. So that's kind of, it's very easy to get stuck down the rabbit hole of blockchain, crypto, blockchain, right? It's like, and it is so easy. And so, I listen to our game devs and I listen to the guys and women who are doing this stuff in the background and building this product. And I'm amazed at how laser focused they are on building something that is compelling, right? That's like, we want this to be the most fun blockchain game and the most fun mobile RPG on the market. And that's refreshing for me, because I can go to the community and say, hey, we're not actually too concerned about we're not concerned about the product. Like, the product is going to be good. You're going to enjoy it. So it's more about working out what the motivation, desires of that group is, and then trying to facilitate that as best we can.
There you go. Yeah, I love it. So moving on, just so people who haven't played before just want to understand that it's free to play, and you can also pay to play if you want to buy off. How does this start? So if I log into the screen, do I need to have, like, if I look at as an example, like Axie Infinity, you need 3 Axies to play right now, eventually free to play. But you guys have free to play off the bat, and then where does the money sort of come into if you need to spend or want to spend it into the game?
Yeah, so there's the opportunity for you to buy on a secondary marketplace now with Founder Edition heroes.
Yep.
With free-to-play heroes, everyone can spawn or start the game with common heroes, a squad of 4 common heroes. And then we have the ability to merge. So once you get X level or X number, you can merge them to level up. and then you get to a certain threshold whereby those heroes become tradable.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, there's no point having every single person in the game be like, oh, okay, we're onboarding, and every single person has a common hero, because there would be no trade value in that. There would be no value in that. So there's an ability and there's a desire and a motivation for people to have to work up to a point where it's like, okay, now I have skin in the game in that regard. And that is exciting in and of itself, because if the game is genuinely free to play, you could start with nothing and do really well. So
wow, your user base is going to be massive on launch day.
I think, I mean, we've got, I think the number's at about 160,000 pre-regged at the moment. And we're still some months away from any form of live ops. So wow. my goal at the moment, my job is basically like, how can I work with everyone who's already there to build this just evangelical group of people? And make this product as amazing as it could be, because I'm obviously biased, but I have a fairly big and strong background in gaming, and I understand what makes a good community. I think I know that quite well, and I think we're best in class. And that's a shout out to the lovely Guild of Guardians family and the people that I get to talk to every day. But yeah, it is an intoxicating vision, and it's a crazy time.
And then I guess just because we're on the subject, scholarships, I know this is one of the questions when I went through the thread. Is there scholarships in, or is there really no need to have scholarships?
It's something that I don't want to... It's hard, because you got to be really careful with how you address this topic, because it's kind of like the amount of messages you get every day. What I will say is we haven't closed our mind off to the idea of it. Okay. Is kind of the easiest way to address it. And I think that there's also the opportunity within this economy for companies and people and guild owners to create their own mechanisms. So it could be a situation where it's not even something that we need to facilitate, that scholarships can be, or a scholarship equivalent could be carried out or purveyed by DAOs or guild game companies, your YJGs, whatever. Or, if you owned a guild and you said, all right, for me, my investment thesis is that I'm going to get the biggest return on my investment if I have 40 players playing at these periods of time in the day, and I'm going to fund you guys to do that, for example. That could be compelling. But yeah, sure. I don't want to commit to anything, but there's a bunch of different opportunities, and it's obviously something we're not going to turn our nose up to at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, open-ended is probably the best way to put it. Then I think you said it really well. So I guess it's always
and
there.
I would also, sorry, I'll just
go for it.
To just double down on that. I think something that is also really worth noting is that the pace at which this space changes
every minute,
there could be there could be something that's a better product or a better mechanic or loop than a scholarship program or a scholarship system in 6 months' time, right? So it's kind of like, I think at its core, you look at a scholarship system in Axie, for example, and the goal is to try and bring people in who otherwise wouldn't be able to play the game, and give them the opportunity to do so. And that could manifest in any form of ways when we get towards live ops. So that's basically what we're looking at. It's like, yes, we are going to try and bring as many people into the ecosystem as possible, but it also is a free-to-play game. So it's like, where can we find the balance, essentially?
Yeah. Gotcha. I mean, I massively agree with you on that. The way crypto moves is it's just 24/7.
Crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
Next week will be something else, and then the week after that, everyone's forgot about that. And then, like Immutable X has just come out of absolutely, like, not absolutely nowhere. Don't get me wrong. They've probably been working behind closed doors for years or whatever. But I know Illuvium's also an Immutable X, and you guys, and I'm hearing a lot of other games and whispers behind closed doors that they're all sort of thinking about going to Immutable X because, one, it's scalable, and why would you want to pay these, $80, $150 gas fees on Ethereum? So I think you're definitely in the right market. And to make it even just mobile itself and free to play, the market for that is massive. Everyone has a mobile, or majority of people have a mobile or access to it. Not everyone has a desktop. So I think you guys are going to get an abundance of basically people wanting to play this game right off the bat. And it's just going to be an influx. And I can't really wait to see how it all unfolds, because it's going to be absolutely nuts for you guys.
Yeah, I think we are stupidly excited about how accessible mobile is. That's something that we were, people were always saying in the beginning, are you guys considering doing PC? Are you considering doing cross-platform? And it's like, everybody has a mobile phone. It's like, obviously with exception, but this is, if you truly believe in the power of decentralization, the power of blockchain, then putting it on mobile makes sense, because that is sort of by default the most accessible platform for people to jump in and get involved. So yeah, we're extremely excited by that, and that's a market that we intend to dominate, basically.
Yeah, I think you guys are on the right path, and I can't wait to see it all plays out. Now, when it comes to basically, you're doing beta right now. I think everyone in the chat here and everyone watching the video is jealous for one. So you can obviously have a bit of insight. I know a lot of things you can't say in that, but just a generalization. Say the game comes out, I log in. What sort of the steps that happen? Do I log in? I obviously have to have a hero. I'm being given the free NFTs, and then I just play some. Do I do some raiding or some dungeons or whatever? What's sort of like the first hour of gameplay? What would it be like setting things up for the game? Whatever you are allowed to say or want to leak here.
Yeah. Well, I've actually started. We started sort of putting out very placeholder UI to the community in the last week or two.
Yeah.
What I will say is that there's the ability for you to preload and build and craft different squads, which you're able to then take into dungeons. You can load into different dungeons that have different aesthetic, have different bosses, have different objectives, and different items that you're going to go and try and grab and defeat, essentially. There's obviously progression elements. There's obviously leaderboard elements. There's basically 1,000 different things that I can go into, but at its core, yeah, you're going in with a squad of heroes. Customizable, obviously, if you own heroes on chain, then you're able to have them in game and they're represented as normal. And then you can build and customize squads based on your, it's an ego thing. It's these are the 4 that I'm going to take into this dungeon that I think are going to win. All right. And it's based off their factions, based off their class. It's based on if they're a ranged or they're a shorthand or they're a melee hero. And then it's also about team synergies. And there's things called pets, which I know our community is very high on. And pets give you different opportunities. So there's different types of pets, and different types of pets give you different stat boosts, or they give you different the ability to have a higher spawn rate of an item that you're looking for in particular. So it's like I would sit here until it's 8:20 in Sydney. I would be here till 1 a.m. explaining like from purely like sort of first level beta, the ideas and opportunities that I foresee happening from this. So yeah, I think without sort of diving too deep into it, it's going to facilitate a lot of both experienced and sort of first time gamers and their ability to kind of go in and navigate the ecosystem and think that they know better than the person sitting next to them how to win and how to improve quicker. And that's kind of what I think makes people come back.
And it's not like an auto battler, is it? Because you've got AIs with you, so it'll be yourself and the 3 other characters, which are AIs. So you have to, obviously they would follow you yourself. So if you move up closer to the enemies, they would then attack.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be standard, sort of stock standard AI elements. And then you obviously you can navigate between heroes and control different heroes. And then there's your classic combo boosts, there's your classic attack sequences, and it's all controllable, joystick and I'm not going to go too far into it, but it's like, I'm extremely bullish on the gameplay. Like if you looked at the game from even first build to where we are at the moment from an iteration standpoint, the thing is like insane.
You're gonna leak some now. You're gonna play it right now for the chat, and then they're gonna see it all.
No, I'll drop a gameplay leak at some point soon.
Okay.
For our community.
Don't worry, chat. We'll see if we can get like a leak at the end of the podcast. We'll see if we can get some stuff that hasn't been announced.
You've lured me in, and you're trying to pull this stuff out of me. See here, I don't want to get in trouble.
Chat's like gameplay leak now. I don't blame them at all. Okay, so I understand the game. It makes all sense. It's absolutely going to be crazy when it comes out. I think you guys have a massive runway for the future. I know that there's a lot of demand for this, and it's all on mobile and stuff. And the gameplay and everything makes sense to me. So let's go into the tokenomics side of things. Do you have a token out? Is there one coming out? And then I want to go sort of a lot of people that obviously care because they would like to make a daily wage and stuff like that. I think you probably don't have answers for that, but if just estimates, or if you're allowed to say, or what sort of happens with the tokenomic side of things here.
Yeah, I think so. Token, I'm not at liberty too much to discuss specifics around it, but there is an in-game currency, and we've already told the community about that. Okay. Guild of Guardian gems are what they're called, or gems more specifically. those gems are ERC20 tokens. So they're created, they're issued and distributed. And the goal of the gems is essentially we want to try and optimize for three things. So we want to reward players. So the gems are tradable in game currencies. They're also given as gameplay rewards. That improves player retention. That provides an avenue for play and earn, as we've already discussed. Allows players to access more premium content, for example. This also aligns incentives. So it allows the community to basically distribute gems amongst one another. It's developer grants, it's community grants. There's a bunch of different things that come out of that. And then it also regulates the economy. So we're very serious about building sort of a like sustainable and dynamic metaverse economy, and you need an in-game currency to do that. And so that currency, that the gem is kind of the building block and the foundation of that. In terms of daily wage and stuff, obviously Axie's on a different level at the moment, just because of their progression and their life cycle at the moment. I obviously can't get into figures because we don't even know, right? We're not even sure what that will look like.
And this will be all free to trade within each other and everything for the gas fees, or close to free?
Essentially, yes. Yeah. So
because of Immutable X instead of it running on the Ethereum blockchain. Okay.
Yeah. And quick, I think just if people aren't quite sure what Immutable X is, in blockchain or in crypto, so Ethereum is the layer 1. So the mainnet is layer 1. And what you'll start seeing and what Immutable X is a layer 2 scaling solution. So obviously they've looked at, Immutable has looked at Ethereum and said gas fees are really prohibitive and they're a hamstring to scalability and growth. And so what a layer 2 scaling solution is, basically it uses what's called a ZK roll-up technology, and just takes a bunch of transactions off chain, approves them in one hit, and then puts them back on, basically paying like a single gas fee, which is eaten or covered by the company, so covered by Immutable. And so for the user experience, you still get the same UI, you get the same trading interface and everything, but you don't pay any gas.
That is literally a perfect explanation, if in my eyes.
Yeah. So I think it is very difficult to wrap your head around. I mean, as people in our chat know, so my background is in sports broadcasting and sports media. So I'm a basketball nut. My background is in writing and talking about sport. And I came across to Immutable about a year ago. And one of my first tasks was writing blog posts for IMX about ZK rollups. And I was like, I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about. I was like, what is going on? But I was learning and learned all the explainers and looked at all this stuff. And really the easiest way to think about it is you're a user of the game. On the front end, you have basically, gas-free minting and trading, which is amazing. And then on the back end, all the transactions are still safe. They're still scalable. All your assets are still secure. They're still approved the same way, but the company or the group or whoever is basically eating the single transaction cost and putting it back on. So that's what we utilize. Gems play an important part in that. Obviously, the marketplace plays an important part in that. But it's also very important to realize, like, without Immutable X, if we were trying to do this on mainnet on layer 1, the game wouldn't work. Because if I'm trying to trade a $2 asset with you, or you're trying to buy something from me for $1.50, and then you go and hit and it's a gas fee of $9, it's like, well, why would I ever do that, right? So it's like,
just doesn't make sense.
So we've got, I think we're onto a real winner. But that's the tokenomics and scaling and asset side of things.
And with gems, I assume you can either earn them. Will you have a marketplace? And because obviously you can trade peer to peer or whatever it is. Will it all be via the gems, or is there other currencies as well, like Ethereum or anything, or a stablecoin, or just gems? Not sure if he's allowed to say.
I'll refer people to the earning assets section of our white paper. And then distribution of gems, utility of gems, and the explainer around that. A, because I don't want to say something incorrect legally, and then also B, I don't want to. I'll let people go and read that. But there's a lot of ways.
If you want to know more, go check out the white paper, and I haven't got one of my mods here to link the website, but you go check it out after the stream, or if you're watching it on video as well.
I'm sorry I couldn't go into more detail.
No, you're fine. Obviously, now it's called Guild of Guardians. It's pretty obvious to me that you guys are focusing on more so the guild side of things, where you want people to come together, create this like community itself, work together, beat bosses, level up, so on and so forth for the game. Is there any circumstances where if you play by yourself, you'll be limited to what you can do, where you'll have to join a guild? And if you don't really know anyone, say you're just someone on their phone, they don't have many friends or they don't have friends that play this game, how would you go about joining a guild? Because that's sort of what this game would be about. Or is there a solo aspect to it as well?
Yeah, I think the first thing to note is that at the moment, Guild of Guardians isn't an open world, right? So it's we may look into it post-launch, but it's not an open world environment at the moment. So it's very much a dungeon crawl. It's very much task-based and challenge-based. And so, no, it's not necessary that you're in guilds. Is the short answer. So you can play as a free-to-play solo player if you wanted to do that. Obviously, as we've sort of said from the beginning, we think that gaming is more fun with friends. In the title, we've got Guild of Guardians. I think ideally, if you could navigate your way into a co-op environment such as a guild, I think it's not only better from a gameplay standpoint, but also your experience from the community is that's kind of where the real beauty of the game lies, in my opinion. I kind of see blockchain gaming and gaming more generally as an avenue or a facilitator for community to build and grow. So it doesn't matter what game you play. If you're playing Fortnite, your Overwatch or whatever, I like playing it with friends. I'm not really a big solo gamer on that front. So I think it's, you're going to have a more enriching experience doing it. In terms of how you join guilds, I mean, we've got a guild recruitment channel in our Discord. We've already got people who, like, I know that there are guilds who are fully formed. I know that there are guilds who are actively recruiting.
That's crazy.
I know that
out. It's months away.
It's absolutely nuts. And you look at companies like YJG. There's a bunch of different DAOs and groups that have bought higher tier guilds. And it's nuts. They're paying referral fees for people to go and bring in sort of really active and experienced mobile gamers. Like this is serious, right? This is like, there are so many significant layers to this. And yeah, I think guilds and co-op is such a unique and amazing opportunity for people to go and meet new people and sort of engage in this enriching and exciting community. And so that's what, I think that's obviously the long-term goal for any gamer, but no, you can play solo. You can do that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess when I look at it, like, games are always more fun with friends by a mile personally as well. So I guess it makes sense for me personally to play with friends, but you guys, you can play solo if you want to. But if you've got more friends than what I do, which a lot of you probably do, you can play with them.
You and me both.
Yeah. Now, I know you say, obviously, the game when it launches will be totally different to then 6 months down the line. Is there a PvP in the roadmap at all somehow, or is it just proper just dungeon for now, or there's whispers around it?
No, we obviously look at and are sort of always pondering, considering stuff around PvP. Obviously the leaderboard elements and stuff lends itself to that. So yeah, it's not something we're ruling out for sure.
Cool, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And then I've got a couple more questions, and then I've got basically the community questions, and I'll just pump through all of them that they asked on Twitter. Esports, are you thinking about this, and how would that work with Guild of Guardians?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful what I say here.
He's thinking in his mind, like, okay, can't say that.
you're just needling me in the side here. One of your little minions is just poking me.
Literally. Give me answers, that's what they want.
Yeah, I mean, we've already partnered with NRG Esports, and there's a few things in the pipeline. Which I can't say anything about, but that's stuff for our community to look forward to. Esports it's an amazing avenue and a really strong mechanism for us to build exposure to the mainstream community. I think if you're serious about this game taking over the world and disrupting the industry to the extent that we want to, stuff like partnering with big esports teams and esports groups and associations is important, because you're going to get mainstream attention on it. You're going to bring people into a new ecosystem and a new facility. So, it's part of what we're actively doing. That's kind of all I can say. I think
it looks like it's going to be a big part of what you guys are.
I think that it's we make no secret of the fact that we want to partner with the big players in the industry, and in a number of different ways, essentially. So I forgot to mention we work with Ubisoft from a consultation and a sort of basically, premium partner situation. So we're partnered with them, and they are invaluable in the way of sort of just bouncing different ideas around them with I guess mainstream mechanics and how we can incorporate different things. But yeah, we want to play with the heaviest hitters essentially.
Yeah.
So, and esports associations are no different from that.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'm looking forward to all of this. I've actually learned a lot, but here comes some questions. This is all from the community side of things. Question is, what is the minimum requirements of mobile specs for Guild of Guardians, or is there any?
I actually don't know the exact specifics. It's probably
Okay.
a question for our game devs, but my TLDR knowledge or summary of it is that you can play it on pretty much any mobile device.
Yeah, so if you got a mobile, you can basically play Guild of Guardians when it comes out. Next question, which you'd probably get the most, but here goes. When does it come out?
Yeah, when?
This should be now, right? Like everyone wants it now.
Yeah,
or yesterday.
I think there's in our white paper, there's kind of a roadmap with more specific dates.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously next year we'll be launching a soft alpha. Sort of around the Q1, Q2 mark is basically the goal. And dev's going well. So, without locking ourselves into that, that's kind of the ballpark of when we want to have that soft alpha go live.
Okay, early next year, if you guys want to play the game or the alpha side of things. So it's not too far away, actually, and it's crazy the demand you've got, and you're not even, it's not even next year.
I mean, yeah, we've obviously got a lot of sort of extensive testing and with different groups and whatnot, but that's kind of, in terms of when the first people would be able to see it, that would be the ballpark.
Which leads me to my next question is, let me know when I'm playing the beta for you, and when I can start leaking everything.
You can stay in my DMs. I'll give you updates.
Yeah, please. If there is any beta stuff, I would love to, but again, that comes with obviously there's not any favors, but if you guys need beta testers, more than happy to, like everyone else, I guess.
Yeah, lots of them.
If I have a legendary hero, can I lend them out like scholars? Now, I know we went over scholars before, but if you have a legendary hero, can you lend them out sort of things, or?
Undetermined.
Yeah, I guess that comes back to the scholar thing that we spoke about earlier on, for sure. Okay, now this makes sense to me, this question we did earlier, but what are the waves? When is wave 3?
That's another very common question.
Is it?
I do not know. That is the answer that I have for you.
He just lied to you guys. He just lied to you. He knows when it is. It's going to be secretly uploaded tomorrow. Yeah, so get on the website.
I think we're actually still working out what we want to do with the mechanics of whitelisting or early adopters to ensure people can get hands on their assets and minus gas, XYZ.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I think Discord and Twitter are the best places to stay across information with that.
There you go, guys. Make sure you follow them on Twitter and Discord. Negleg, if you could put that in the chat, that would be amazing. And just so I know, is it if you're buying the NFTs when Wave 3 or even 2 or 1, is it on Ethereum still?
Yeah, it will be. So we're obviously looking at picking up all of these drop mechanics and moving them onto Immutable X. The only reason that we didn't do that at the moment is going back to what we spoke about in the beginning. We're trying to prioritize speed of getting these assets into people's hands, because as the ecosystem grows, as new people come in, you dilute the opportunity for people who have been here from the beginning or the older sort of OG members to get their hands on these assets. So we obviously built the smart contract. We engineered everything in that back end. And so to change it would be quite manual and quite laborious. So we want to get them out. We want to, unfortunately, gas is a bit annoying. We've done a lot to circumvent that with shopping cart transaction systems and dropping at different times to try and get around gas. But eventually, longer term, everything will be through the IMX ecosystem.
Yeah. Immutable X, if you guys don't know what IMX stands for as well, which I tried to get involved in, but there was no way of me investing in them. So another question here, I've got a couple more to go, is basically, you've got Stepico Games, which I believe are the guys in the Ukraine who are actually the game developers of this. Someone wants to know, long term, will they be around in 5 years? Are they just the starting point? What's sort of the plans with them for the next 5 years?
No, I mean, they're going to be long term.
Oh, okay.
So they're doing an excellent job. They've got a really strong history with mobile games specifically. They're an excellent dev studio, and we've had absolutely no issues working with them. They're outstanding. So we'll keep leaning on them.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. They seem to be very, very smart over in the Ukraine for game developing, and they obviously know what they're doing. This one, oh god, when's pet sales?
Again, I refer to my previous comments about Wave 3.
There you go, guys. Pet sales soon-ish.
Discord and Twitter, keep an eye.
Yeah, just jump on Discord or Twitter, guys, and you'll get those answers. Someone obviously gas fees we went over. And Guild of Guardians it's an RPG game in general. Is there going to be like quests as well, or is it just do the raid, do the dungeon, and collect your sort of gems at the end of it if you complete the bosses? And does NFTs drop from bosses as well?
I am not at liberty to discuss.
Oh, I love
It's
it.
classic.
I love it.
I come in here and you guys all ask these questions. It's like I can't. I just can't say. Look, there's many exciting and compelling ways, and I think that you should all be part of the game, part of the ecosystem to get the full experience.
The second last question that I've got here, which actually chat's asking as well, staking. If you get gems, is it going to be staking, or is this another one of those we'll see in the future sort of things? Prefer to Twitter and Discord?
No, I actually would say go to the gem section of the white paper because it explains a lot better than I'll be able to TLDR it. Yeah. But it goes into the utility of gems and how gems are distributed. And for example, people are already earning gems by buying in the earlier waves.
So if you've already got an NFT that you've purchased early on, that's making gems.
At Mint.
Oh, it means
so
gems.
so that we have the concept of basically gems unlocking at different community milestones. So
cool. Okay.
When X% of the wave is sold out, then you get a fraction of kickback via gems. We also, I'm plugging this wave, but we have referral where if you use someone's referral code, you get 5% off, they get 5% off, and you get that back in ETH. So there's a bunch of different ways that basically everything we do is centered around trying to reward the community.
I love play to earn, and especially when whenever the play to earn games are very transparent with their community. Like I see you guys, like I know Illuvium updates, like they put a lot of character leaks, and it's all like transparency. That's what I love about the blockchain and the play to earn model as well. So it looks like you guys have a crazy future ahead of you, and I will be there every step of the way. I plan to come to Sydney very soon because I believe your office is very next to Illuvium, or not far from Immutable X or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we've just moved into a bigger office because the team started scaling way too quickly. So we're in Sydney. You can come down. We can have a beer or a coffee or whatever sort of drink you want to tickle your fancy.
You literally just got out of lockdown today.
Literally about 20 hours ago. So
I'm jealous. We're still locked out in Melbourne, but hopefully
I'm excited for you to get to Sydney. That's going to be good.
I meant to go on this American road trip in November, December. So we'll see what happens there. But I'll be flying up because I want to meet Kieran and you guys and Immutable X and all that sort of stuff. So I'll keep in contact with you. And a hard question, and then we'll come up with some closing thoughts here. One, this question I already know maybe the answer, but maybe we can windle something out, chat. Is there any alpha or anything you could say that hasn't been said, or any leaks or something you could tease for the community because they've come here? And legally, I don't know what you're allowed to say. Is there something in your mind that you could say? Is there anything at all?
I would say we've got some very exciting partnership announcements coming up in the back half of this year. So I would say that's a nice tease.
Yeah.
There's ammunition in the gun that we're ready to sort of unload over different times. But we're having some amazing conversations back here and interacting with some very cool groups and very cool people. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, nice. That's good though, because especially of what you're allowed to say. So guys, it's something very soon towards the end of the year, or sometime between now and the end of the year. Guild of Guardians are going to have some partnerships, whether it's announced or just heading in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest, I love the idea of the game. I watched the trailer a bunch of times, and every time, like I said, I missed out on the NFTs and whatnot. But do you have any closing thoughts or anything? And guys, if you're not, before we finish up, we'll get Neg to put the Discord, the website. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out. You will love the game. You'll love the cinematics of it all, the gameplay as well. Obviously, Nick is doing the beta at the moment and obviously testing, and it'll be out early next year. So I'm super, super excited for them. And Nick will finish up with some closing thoughts.
Yeah, I think, first thing I would say about the gameplay, our sort of senior game designer was one of the first devs or sort of game designers on Temple Run. I don't know if you guys remember that game on mobile, but one of like the biggest mobile games in history. And it is a literal privilege to be able to sit and listen to him talk about this space and how games work. And like, it's every morning is just like, wow, this guy's crazy. I would say, to summarize, I think that we are all in the beginning of a tidal wave. And
Mm.
I think that the concept of play and earn and play to earn, whatever you want to call it, is something that I've not witnessed sort of in my time as a gamer and someone who is extroverted and goes and interacts with people in this space, that the ability for people to have full ownership over their assets, the ability and the strength of the communities that are born out of these games is next level. And I've not seen anything like it. And there are so many signs there that suggest that we are all extremely early to a tidal wave movement that is going to completely reshape the way people think gaming, mobile gaming, and how communities and structures interact within that space. And speaking to Guild of Guardians specifically, I think I'm very jealous of the people that are in our community, because I truly, honestly believe that we're going to be the biggest mobile blockchain game in the world. In 5 years' time, we're going to have 100 million plus users. We're going to define and set the standard and be the shoulders that other projects have to climb up on top of if they're going to get past us, essentially. And it's extremely exciting, but something and a challenge we're really well prepared for and excited to fight for.
Mate, that is a great closing argument. I got one last question I got to throw in here before we finish up, because they keep asking me, ask how they'll handle bots and cheaters. I don't know why that keeps coming up in the chat, but it is.
That's genuinely a daily task for us. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a technical background. I leave a lot of that stuff to our smart contract devs, now engineers, but it is so front of mind. It's not something we're ignoring. So I think people should have peace of mind on that front.
Yeah, guys, I believe, like, they're not going to want them, so I believe they're going to do everything in their power to remove them. But look, that's a great summary. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to speak to you on Twitter after this anyway. Guys, stick around. We're going to give away a bunch of SLP, which has nothing to do with Guild of Guardians. I wish I could give out gems, but Nick won't give me any. But yeah, thank you for coming on. I learned a lot. Hopefully people listening to this learns a lot as well. And whenever you got an announcement or you need anything from me, I am literally just a tweet away, and anything I can do to help, and I'll make sure I have a beer with you in Sydney soon, hopefully.
Very excited to see you in person. Thank you everyone for jumping in, listening, and hop into our Discord and hang out with the family. But lovely to chat to you guys, and we'll see a lot of each other.
Thanks, Dick. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Bye.
Bye.